Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see our founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free flamethrower with every IT purchase with Picatinny reel adapters, can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the flamethrower button to learn more and see me shooting a flamethrower. And lastly, trying to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you click that button and tell your friends and your enemies, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have Lamborghini saying their V8 high RPM engine is here to stay. Though, really kind of wish it's still V12, but nevertheless. This is brought to us thanks to Caleb Jacobs, who's a writer at thedrive.com. And, I mean, it's good. Again, V8s are awesome. I would argue more of American than, if I'm getting an Italian vehicle, albeit owned by a German, well, I don't know, I'd want at least 10 cylinders, maybe, ideally 12, like the company was in their heyday, but nevertheless. Again, credit to Caleb Jacobs over at thedrive.com. And he says, quote, Lamborghini says its 10,000 RPM V8 will stick around for some time. Not long ago, it looked like high-performance gas engines might be forced into extinction by 2035. And that is because of the totalitarian evil government that is the EU. Because, again, they have a gas ban by 2035. Now, of course, they could manufacture it and then ship it to the United States, which would cost a pretty penny because, again, just like when you shop at Costco and you're buying all the components, buying in bulk, you get a better deal per price per unit. And if you're only making this for one market, the cost per unit of everything is going to go up. So again, it looks great, but it is so heartless and boring that there are only 2 pedal vehicles these days. Only an automatic transmission, which that's just stupid. They're leaving out money on the table. People are willing to spend $1 million for a Lamborghini LP640 with a stick shift and a V12. I would argue one of the best combinations since peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, I think that's an accurate assessment to the combination of the glorious V12 engine and a stick shift, but I partially digress. You can see the Lamborghini there on the screen. And he says, quote, the Lamborghini Termiano is electrified, but it's not electric. There's a difference. Rather than dishing internal combustion for battery power, the manufacturer developed its new V8 that works in concert with electric motors to make 907 horsepower. You can argue it doesn't sound as good as the old Huracan's V10. He says, which I would push back. No, so lame. But it still revs to 10,000 RPM. According to Mr. Richachi, the Tamero product line director, it's not going anywhere for a long time. You can see a close-up of the engine. The tumor of the electric tumor bolted onto it. Now, they say, quote, the drive spoke with Richachi at a media event earlier this year. During the conversation, we asked the simple question, how are you thinking about the future of the V8? And he says, quote, we have talked about it, and it's an engine that's designed to stay for at least 2 life cycles. Because we carefully thought about what to do, and we have a plan of improvement for it. So we know what we have to do and how we can improve it in the future, unquote. They say given the Huracan's life cycle lasted 10 years, you can pretty much expect that the high-revving twin-turbo 4-liter runs deep into the next decade. It isn't hard to get him to talk more about the engine. Everyone at Lamborghini is very proud of it, considering they were able to maintain the astronomical rev limit while incorporating forced induction. In fact, the flat crank V8 revs higher than the Huracan's naturally aspirated V10 ever could. So again, there's something special about it. It's getting more and more rare these days because, well, spoiler alert, emission standards, fuel efficiency standards, all kind of fleet averages, but there's something nice about a naturally aspirated V10 or V12. Now, he says, again, according to him, 10,000 RPM was always the goal. He says, quote, its connection to the racing. The more sport engines are running over 10,000 RPM, and that was our entry point there. Then we have a little bit of space over 10,000, but nevertheless, this was a great target we gave ourselves. And it was given by the idea that we had to replace something iconic like the V10 with something that could be even more iconic. Which, hell no, as I think most of my friends would say. Yeah, you're not going to make a V8, granted, high revving. That's pretty cool. Twin turbo, that's really cool. But yeah, bastardizing it with, electricity and all that kind of stuff. That'll never be iconic. And again, granted, you're not buying Lamborghini because of reliability. It will be even more of a pain in the ass to actually take care of long term. I mean, look at some of these supercars from McLaren. McLaren P1 has a battery. Once it inevitably goes bad, it's over $100,000 to replace, just like Ferrari. a lot of these supercar manufacturers and hypercar manufacturers that try to put electrical doodads in them, very technical terms, I know, not only does it increase the cost of goods sold, it makes maintaining it long term, I would argue, nearly impossible. And the best metaphor for that is, smartphones. Electric vehicles and hybrids are like smartphones on wheels. Very expensive to maintain. You're locked in to basically only have one manufacturer that can do any work on it. And do you know anyone who has a phone that's over 10 or even more than 4 years old? Heaven forbid, 10 years old. Even if you wanted to, trying to actually maintain that phone with replaceable components, which again, batteries go bad. There might be a magical technology that comes out tomorrow. Always have to have that caveat because technology moves quickly. Again, lithium-ion batteries, most popular batteries for everything these days, they naturally degrade over time. Or if they're Samsung, they balloon over time. And yeah, good luck maintaining that. I would also argue less fun, but again, I'm more of a purist. My vehicles always have a stick shift in a gas engine, which, yes, I know that is a very unusual. I'm very weird in that regard. Well, many regards, but yeah, every car should have 3 pedals, also known as manual transmission. But back to the article. Lamborghini representative continues saying, quote, because it's unique, it's something that nobody else is offering. And that quote right there might be a reason for that. Again, if you're paying 6 figures for a vehicle, again, personally, I've never buy a hybrid at six figures. Well, I've never buy one to begin with. But you're getting a Lamborghini, I mean, I want at least 10 cylinders, if not 12. It's just, and again, I know times are changing. The business is moving in a different direction. The market is shifting with many people liking hybrids. I would argue that's more for the mid-market vehicles in terms of, price points and areas they're selling to. But I don't know. It's just something disappointing about having so much tech like that in a Lamborghini. Now, they say that quote, yeah, no one else is offering. And definitely the combination of a turbo engine with 10,000 RPM was a challenge that led us to make technical choices that really rooted in the racing experience, creating a flat plane crankshaft, but minimizing inertia. The titanium connecting rods and the machined lightweight pistons are solutions that are coming from motorsport. Here you can see another picture of that engine, which, so disappointing. They say excitement like this is refreshing for gearheads. After years of hearing the best gas engines will be forced out by the rest of them by 2035, if not sooner, the course seems to be reversing in the U.S. Again, that could also change because, again, that's a very political thing, depending on who wins the next presidential election, who's in charge of the EPA. There are a lot of variables, which, again, that makes it difficult for manufacturers to kind of gauge where they make investments. Now, they say, of course, it, again, seems to be reversing the U.S. for the time being, and many automakers are insisting to other governments that such timelines to phase out internal gas engines is unrealistic, which it is. Also, those crappy countries can't charge them worth a damn. Very similar to California pushing for more EVs. They don't have the infrastructure to actually charge them. Though conspiratorially, maybe that's what they want, so you can't leave your house more than 10 or, 20 miles, whatever. Now, the craziest conspiracy theory we've heard throughout the years. Now, they say, quote, there was even a time not long ago that Italy pressured the EU to exempt Lamborghini and Ferrari from future gas bans, because of the heritage and all, which, yeah, the EU is an evil totalitarian government. Italy and Germany should grow some huevos. That's Spanish. Yeah, close enough. I don't know that in German. Nevertheless, they should actually push back. We'll see if they're successful. But yeah, those countries are known for some of the best automotive companies on the planet. Again, not for liability, but in terms of heritage, performance, luxury. Yeah, and force them to make EVs, they will lose money and they'll lose to China. Because no one can beat China price point and ripping off technology. Now, continuing the article, they say, quote, finally, he asserted that Lamborghini plans to guard this particular V8 for the Tempero. The Urus SUV currently uses a 4-liter V8, and apparently this one won't fit there without significant modifications. And he says, I really think it's a signature, so something we have to limit to such possible as a Tempero, because it'll make that so much more, giving this a unique soul and unique driving experience. So to me, it's really important that it'll be a distinctive component for this platform, unquote. Now, again, Caleb Jacobs says, I don't know, it feels like Lamborghini might budge if enough folks sign up on the dotted line for a limited run of 10,000 RPM Uruses, which there are probably a couple weirdos. I'd like a high revving RPM engine for an SUV, though again, it's an SUV. The Lamborghini SUV is automatic only. The original Lamborghini SUV, that's crazy, stupid, expensive. I would argue more fun though. Again, 12 cylinders of glory and a stick shift. Yeah, I'd choose that over the new SUV, obviously. But yeah, it's interesting that, again, they're finding ways to keep some gas engines in the product lines. And it's really cool. It revs up to such a crazy high RPM. But it would be even cooler if they were to just punch back, be like, you know what? We're going to make V10s. We're going to make more V12s. You know what? We like to make money. We're going to make the stick shift again. We haven't done that for over a decade plus. I think actually 2 decades. Time goes by way too quick. Again, the vintage, well, geez Louise, now vintage Lamborghinis with stick shifts, they sell for 2 to 3x more than the ones with the automatic transmission. Very similar to what you're seeing with Ferrari. They're literally leaving money on the table. Maybe they don't care because they usually just print money anyway. But I guess it's cool to have this little engine. We'll see how long they can hold out. But I don't know. To me, I mean, again, right now I got a Honda, so I'm not really looking in the market for a Lamborghini except maybe a Lego set. But if you won the lottery, you had to buy a Lamborghini, would you buy a new one with one of these engines? Or like me, would you look at maybe a little older Gallardo with a V10 and a stick shift? Or, well, if you really win the lottery, you got $1 million, get the LP640 with a V12 and a stick shift. I mean, personally, if I'm getting that, prancing bull on the front of the hood, yeah, it's going to have a stick shift and at least a V10. But that's just me. Let me know your thoughts in the comments because, as always, fascinated to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get 6,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so click that button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.